Hi, I'm Adam Stevenson from SSW TV and I'm here at Ignite on the Gold Coast. I'm with Dr. Neil, who doesn't need any introductions because he's you're all over the place at the moment. I see you talking about Service Hub. I see you talking about conversation as a platform.
Yep.
So the conversation as a platform is obviously a big deal. We had Scott Guthrie here and it was featured in the keynote.
Yeah.
Can you give us a bit of an idea, what's it all about?
So I think we need to take a little bit of a step sideways and think about how we've been engaging with computers, right? And how do we typically engage with computers right now? Screens, we think about screens, keyboards,
on the phone
mice.
all the time.
Right, this is important, right? So your phone is now your computer.
Most of the time.
Right, so we don't even talk about it as a computer anymore. We don't even call it a smartphone, it's just your phone, right? But how do you communicate with your apps? You kind of launch them and you poke at them and you push buttons.
It
right?
is.
But how do you communicate with your friends?
A lot of tapping around, but I prefer it's better. Obviously, better to just talk to them.
Right, but when you're talking to them, you're using Messenger. You're using maybe Facebook Messenger or Skype or Kik or there's all these different channels, Viber that we talk to our friends through, right? And we're constantly kind of texting and having conversations. Hey, do you want to meet up? Do you want to do something? Well, why can't we use those same channels that we're already on to have conversations with our apps? So our software can work for us by talking to it.
And I'm not getting out of context. I'm staying in my normal flow.
You're staying
of
in your channel of conversation.
Doing.
You're staying in the same channel that you're in, and yet you can command your software to do things for you, or your software could give you information about things.
Okay.
So when your software needs to provide a notification to you, right, why does it bring up a toast or something? Why not just ping you on Skype? It knows you're on Skype all day anyway, chatting to your buddies. So why not just ping you on Skype and say, hey, there's a server that's down at the moment, do you want to do something about it?
Okay, so I'm going to be able to start building applications that are going to work in with the ways that I'm communicating normally now.
Right.
So when we're talking conversation as a platform, when we come and talk about it in our space, in the Microsoft sphere, we're talking about Azure and about chatbots and that kind of thing. How does that piece of technology fit into the conversation as a platform story?
Yes, a conversation as a platform is maybe an idea or a concept, and it's made up of technologies, right? And so those technologies that it's made up of course, in a Microsoft world are mostly Azure hosted, but the Bot Framework is a big piece of that, and the Bot Framework is gives us the ability to create web apps that have conversation as a core component, i.e. they can send and receive text messages. That's what a conversation is right, a stream of sentences back and forth between people. They have the ability to maintain the context of the conversation, so they know that this is a conversation between Neil and Adam, or that this is a conversation between Bob and Sue, right? And so it knows the context of the conversation and the ability for our software that we're building on that context to store information about the context. So for this specific conversation, we'll store some specific information that's mapped to this conversation that I'm having between two endpoints.
So in an application I'm building, that could be a conversation between me and my alert monitoring system for my servers, for example. If I've got an application, and then that means if there's an alert on my server, it could send, whether I'm on Skype or I'm on Slack or whatever I'm using at the moment, it could be talking to me about, hey, this has happened, do you want to know more about it, or who should I need to know, that kind of an idea.
Yeah, and one of the great things about the bot framework is that the Microsoft Bot Framework has multiple channels already set up. So you go, I'm going to build my web app that is a bot that knows how to have this conversation. And then I want it to be available on Skype. I want it to be available on Slack. I want it to be available on Kik. I want it to be available as a web page, as a web chat. And you just push a few buttons, add some entries that you get from some are a little harder than others. Some are really easy, like Skype is super easy. Slack is pretty easy to integrate. Facebook, you need to go to Facebook, register as a bot creator, get an app ID, go back to the bot framework, put the app ID in, and now your bot is ready to work on Facebook Messenger.
Wow. So I can go and do all of that today, and I can go and write a bot that can then communicate with me or my clients through all of those different interfaces.
Through all those channels, boom. One piece of code communicating through all those channels. Email is another channel. And then if the channel's not supported, you can use direct line, which is a direct interface to communicate from your app, whichever app you're building. You could build your own custom app. In fact, in my session, I do a demo building a UWP app using direct line to talk to the bot that I build. So yesterday's session, I built a bot from scratch. We opened up Visual Studio, started with the bot template that you get from the Bot Framework repository, and you build out, we built out a bot. So we had a very simple food ordering bot that we built out in the session, and then I hooked it into a UWP app, and that UWP app then presented the conversation, and I could hook it into Skype, I could hook it into Slack as well, same bot, and then in the UWP app, I connected the UWP app to Cortana. So I could then ask Cortana, hey Cortana, order some food for me from Contoso Cafe, and it launches the app and starts the conversation.
So now you've got, so the bot framework is giving you your interface through all of these different channels.
Right.
And now you're starting to put you're starting to put the smarts behind that bot framework.
Correct.
So Cortana's one example of something that you'd commonly put behind it. What are other things that you might...
I don't know about commonly, but you certainly could use Cortana, and Cortana's more about context than it is about intelligence.
Yeah.
So there's the Cortana Intelligence Suite, which is something else, but I'm talking about Cortana as in, hey Cortana, what's on my calendar today, right?
Yeah.
That Cortana that pops up in Windows. And now Cortana's available on Android as well, which not a lot of people know yet. Which is pretty cool. And you can build your bot or your Cortana skill, and they announced skills a couple of weeks ago. So you can start building Cortana skills soon. It's not available yet, but when it becomes available as a developer preview, to communicate with a Windows app, an Android app, or just a URI, so you could communicate with a service online.
Wow.
Which could be a bot maybe, right?
Yeah. Okay, so, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And in the demo that Scott Guthrie did when he did the keynote, he also used Luis.
Yes.
Can you give us a bit of an idea of what we could do with Luis?
Luis is the language understanding intelligence system, right, or service, and that gives us the ability to have a more natural conversation. So when I order a coffee, I could say, hey, can I get a coffee please? Or please get me a coffee, or please order a coffee, or I need coffee, or help, coffee, right? They all mean the same thing. The intention behind any of those sentences is Neil needs coffee, right? And so what Luis does is it enables you to build intents. In fact, I'm going to show this in my session this afternoon, is you can build an intent and then you map a bunch of utterances. An utterance is, I need coffee, please get me coffee, I would like to order a coffee. Awesome. And you create all these utterances and you train it. That all these utterances mean Neil is ordering some kind of food, and that kind of food is coffee.
Wow. Yep.
And you start building up this ability to train. Luis then understands the intention. I could then create a new intention, say in the theme of the conversation, I'm going to book a table at a restaurant. Yeah. Right. So, hey, book a table. I need to reserve a table for 4 people tomorrow evening.
Awesome.
Book a table tonight. These are all the same intention.
So it's able to, instead of normally when we deal with computers, we need to give it what it expects.
Very strict instructions.
This is actually able to then work out our intent, and then so we're using the bot framework to kind of do the communication out to the different devices.
Right.
And we're able to really have a conversation because behind the scenes we're now able to interpret intent and then manage.
Yeah, and then you can plug that intent into the bot framework. So you can say, hey, I've got this sentence. Luis, please tell me what's the intent behind this sentence. And then the bot framework creates what we call a dialogue, or uses a dialogue to determine what to do based on that intent. And then you can, like a switch statement, if you like, based on that intent, then can trigger a different path of the conversation.
Wow. I think it's a really exciting area, and I can't wait to see the challenges that people overcome and the problems people solve with it. I think it's a really exciting time.
And I think, to think about how we scale this out into kind of the technology that we're building now for the future, it's about creating technology that's much more natural to engage with, which falls into, like you say, I'm all over the place, but actually a lot of the stuff I do is related in some weird way. So it's related to how do we create more natural, engaging experiences using technology. So Surface Hub is a big screen that we engage with as a group of people in a social way. Yeah. Conversation as a platform is a way that we engage in a different way with our technology.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Look, thank you for bringing us up to speed on what Conversation as a platform is and how we might start using it. And thank you all for joining us on SSW TV.